progress.
Hare Krishna, welcome everyone to our Srimad Bhagvatam class, Bhakti Vaibhav class. We'll begin with our prayers. Om Jnanatimrindhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuro Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Vracharani Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatyade Shatarani जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna. So we are continuing our discussion from Canto 4 and we are on chapter 15, I think.
Chapter 15, verse 22. Verse 22.
Yeah. So far we have heard how Vena, he was killed by all the sages by chanting some mantras. As a result of that, all the thieves and the dacoits, they increased in the kingdom. And the sages, they were concerned about what to do. They came together and they started churning the body of Vena. First, they churned the thighs of the Vena and appeared from there a very dark personality. He was given the name Bahuka. He was the personification of all the sins of Vena. He was sent to the forest to do tapasya. His name was given Nishada. He became the originator of Nishada race, Nishida. He was told to sit down. Then they churned the hands of Vena, and from that churning, a couple came out. The male was the expansion of Supreme Lord's Palan Shakti, and he was named Prithu. And the female was the expansion of the goddess of fortune. She was given the name Archi. So as everybody understood, seeing the bodily symptoms of Prithu Maharaj, that he is the expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. All the Devtas, they came, they started offering wonderful gifts. So we discussed till verse number 21. We'll continue from verse number 22. So in the previous verses, we have heard how all the Devtas, they came and offered beautiful respects, beautiful gifts. And in the 20th verse, it is described, the seas, mountains, and the rivers gave him room to drive his chariot without impediments. And Asut, Amagada, and Vandi offered prayers and praises. They all presented themselves before him to perform their respective duties. Thus, when the greatly powerful King Prithu saw the professionals before him, to congratulate them, he smiled, and with the gravity of the vibrating sounds of the cloud, he spoke as follows. So, every time it is described, when the Lord speaks or empowered representative of the Lord speaks, the words are Meg Niraradaya Vacha. Now, this is a very common word. When Krishna speaks, Meg Niraradaya Gira. When Krishna spoke to Indra in Govardhan Lila, whenever, it comes. This is the common feature of the words of great personalities, the speech of great personality. They are very grave, like rumbling clouds. So Prithu Maharaj, now he is speaking. I'll recite the verse. Prithu Ruvacha Bhosuta Hema Gada Samya Vandil Loke Dhuna Spashta Gunasya Me Syat Timashrayo Me Stava Esha Yojata Mamai Abhuvan Vitatha Girova. Translation.
King Prithu said, O gentle Sutta, Magadha and other devotee offering prayers, the qualities of which you have spoken are not distinct in me. Why then should you praise me for all these qualities when I do not shelter these features? I do not wish for these words meant for me go in vain, but it is better that they be offered to someone else.
So Prithu Maharaj, like a very honest king, representative of the Supreme Lord, he is describing that why are you praising me? You are praising me for something which I'll do in future. This is not good, you know, because he's saying these qualities are not yet distinct. Adhuna aspashta, loke dhuna aspashta. They are not distinctly visible in my character now. They described in great detail what he will do in future. So he is telling Kim ashrayam stavesh yojatam. Why are you speaking all these? Because I do not shelter these features. Kim ashrayome. Ashray means these qualities, they don't take shelter in me. So you should not glorify me now. You should glorify a person when he does something. Otherwise, it is not a glorification, it is a sarcasm for that person. If I have not done something and you are telling, oh, this person has done that, it is not a glorification, it is a sarcasm. So, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes, how can this praise be offered to me who have unclear qualities at this time? What qualities do you see in me to praise me? So they say, but we cannot exist without praising. That is our job profile. The Sut Magadavandi, they say that is our role to glorify. But Lord says, this should be done to someone else who has qualities, not me. So they say, yes, Prabhuji. Shachi Pranko, you have a question?
Yeah. You can complete this. I can ask after the completion of this.
So he says, so the Sut Mangadi says, what fault do you have if we praise you? What are you afraid of? Why are you afraid of hearing these praises? What's the problem? So Prithu Maharaj says, there is no fault for me, but you will incur sin for this. This is what I fear. Because if you are saying something which I am not doing, which I will not manifest, then you will be implicated in speaking lie. So therefore you'll become sinful. So I'm fearful about you. May your words not be vain in being directed to me with a tha. So that's how he's describing. So Srila Prabhupada writes, the prayers and the praises by the Sut Magadavandi all explain the godly qualities of Prithu Maharaj. For he was Shaktyavesha avatar, but they were not yet manifest. So therefore he is humbly asking, please don't glorify me for things which I have not done. It says, the offering of prayers was certainly appropriate, for he was the incarnation of God, but he warned that one should not be accepted as incarnation without having godly qualities. So prayers are appropriate because he is Supreme Lord, everybody knows, but still, the emphasis is if somebody is not displaying the quality, he should not be glorified for that. And then Prabhupada talks about many mundane incarnations nowadays. They are, imposing themselves as Supreme Lord, although they have no godly qualities. So Prithu desired that his real qualities, real characteristics in future might justify such words of praise. Okay.
Just point one question is Prithvi Maharaj is showing this extreme humility. One aspect of his humility that he doesn't want people should be, because we always want to hear glorification of ourselves. Like if people are glorifying us, we feel very happy. So it's exactly contrast here, and he's a Shaktavesh avatar. Second question is he is a living entity only, na? Means all Shaktavesh avatars are fall into category of living entities only, na?
Yes.
Still
He
he
is
is
a
showing
living.
such, yeah.
So yeah, that is the ideal character of any gentleman. A gentleman, a genuine person will never accept the glorification for things which he has not done. That is actual uh, cultured society. That is taken as, you know, sarcasm. That is not a glorification. If I have not done something and if somebody is glorifying me, that is not glorification. That is sarcasm. So therefore he is saying, you do it later when I manifest all these qualities. Now I have not done anything. So Prabhupada writes, although there was no fault in the prayers offered, Prithu Maharaj indicated that such prayers should not be offered to an unfit person who pretends to be an incarnation.
So
So
probably
there
they
are
were
many.
probably they were assuming that Prabhuji that this quality is really going to manifest. These people who are like praising, probably they are assuming that these qualities are going to get manifest, and that's why they are praising Prithu Maharaj. So in one sense is not wrong because they have that qualities to understand the futuristic appearance and qualities of Prithu Maharaj, what he's going to do it. Maybe that's the reason they were praising Prithu Maharaj. Is that understanding is correct?
Yes, Prabhuji, because everybody knew that he is the avatar of the Lord. So avatar of the Lord will, show all the qualities of avatar. So all these qualities, they are the godly qualities which they are glorifying, and it is not wrong on their part. But out of culture and respect and humility, Pithu Maharaj is showing the ideal example that one should not hear glorification if a person has not done anything. Because the glories of the Lord, they are always there, unlimited glories. Just because in this life one has not, in this avatar, if the some Lord's avatar has not done something, that does not mean they don't have any qualifications. Lord's qualities are unlimited, so they can be glorified. But here he is, just playing a very humble role.
And also, Prabhuji, how we can avoid because we have habitually, people sometimes glorify us and we are, we don't like criticism, but definitely someone glorify us, Arey, wow, what a sincere devotee, so many things. So definitely, laddu phutte hai man mein. So how we should, those who glorify us, how we should take it up means we should take it up with that I have not manifested any qualities like this, or what should be our mood when people glorify us, or how we can
Yeah.
avoid such kind of, uh, have such kind of, praise being done, but when we should.
So if somebody is speaking something, some glorification for what we have done, accept that glorification, but no, don't expect it. If somebody is a great singer and if he is glorified, oh, you are singing so nicely, and he says, "Nahi, nahi, main kahan acha gata hu." That is not right way of accepting that glorification. Accept it. Thank you. Grateful to you. But we should not expect that it will come again in future. And also we should not keep it with ourselves. Pass on this glorification to the Supreme Lord and to the Parampara. If somebody is speaking something and then he is glorified, so we should not feel, I have done it. Pass on to Parampara. It is all by the mercy of the Lord and the devotees and our acharyas.
Hmm.
So that is how we have to be always honest, because actually nothing belongs to us. It is not that we are just speaking something. Actually, nothing belongs to us. Everything is given by the Lord. Shabda ke paurusham rishu. All our strengths and abilities is given by Krishna. So we should honestly say that, oh, this is not me. This is the Supreme Lord. This is the mercy of our teachers. And of course, accept that. Thank you. We should be grateful. Thank you for encouraging. But this is not me. This is the mercy of the Lord. So that's how we should, see these glorifications when it comes to us.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
So the bards, the Sutamagada Vandi, the bards, they say, Are these qualities will manifest in future. So in the next verse, he says, okay, when I manifest these qualities, then you glorify. Translation, next verse, 23rd.
O gentle reciters, offer such prayers in due course of time, when the qualities of which you have spoken actually manifest themselves in me. The gentle who offer praise to the Supreme Personality of Godhead do not attribute such qualities to a human being who does not actually have them.
So he says, so they are saying, oh, you will manifest these qualities in future. Prithu Maharaj says, then you glorify me in future only. And if you glorify me in future, who will forbid you? So he says, uh, all these qualities will become manifest in future. So he says, when they become manifest, then you glorify me as much as you want. But do not do that now. And in future, who will forbid you? Do it indirectly or not directly, but do it indirectly, not directly. So he says, don't do direct glorification also in future. Indirectly you glorify. O persons who have skill in attractive words, it is not proper to embarrass a person by glorifying him face to face. This is another, quality of a cultured society. It is just like, this is a very high level of culture, high level of integrity. For example, if a chief minister is there and prime minister is there, and somebody starts glorifying chief minister's glories, qualities in front of prime minister. So what will happen to chief minister? Any thoughts? How will he react if the chief minister is glorified in front of prime minister?
It will be embarrassing for the chief minister.
Yeah. Why he'll be embarrassed? What is embarrassing?
Because in front of the superior who possesses more attributes than him, he is getting glorified.
Yes. And chief minister gets his power from prime minister. So a honest person, he never likes to hear his glorification because he understands that whatever I have, it is coming from the Lord. And I cannot take this glorification. So it is embarrassing. If somebody glorifies face to face, it is embarrassing. So that's why he's saying do it indirectly, not directly. In future also, when you glorify me, you glorify indirectly, not in front of me. So then they may say, okay, what should we do? Because now we have begun glorification. He says that is useless. Don't glorify me now. We have begun to glorify you. And Prithu Maharaj says, you should offer prayers to the Lord. This verse says, the gentle who offer prayers to the Lord do not attribute qualities to a human being. So he says, why are you uselessly glorifying me? Pastimes of the Lord should be chanted at all times. You should not praise a low, recent person like me. Otherwise, you are not a worthy assembly. So, as Prithu Maharaj speaks like this, bards, all these reciters, they say, Arey, but you are the Supreme Lord. You are worthy of praise. So Prithu Maharaj, in that response, he speaks the next verse. Translation. Okay, we'll read we didn't read the purport. Just sorry. Prabhupada writes in the purport, the gentle devotees of the Supreme Lord know perfectly well who is God and who is not. The non-devotee who has no idea what God is, who never offer prayers to Supreme Lord, are always interested in accepting human being as God and offer prayers to him. That's the difference between demigods and demons. Then last few lines, Prabhupada writes, if a man who does not factually possesses the attributes of a great personality, engages his followers in praising him with the expectation that such attributes will develop in future, that sort of praise is actually an insult. So these are very high levels of cultured society etiquettes. It was not like today's age where by hook or crook become famous. If somebody is praising me for things which I have not done, oh, what is the problem? No, but that was not the culture. Okay, so now 24th verse, translation. Yes.
How could an intelligent man, competent enough to possess such exalted qualities, allow his followers to praise him if he did not actually have them? Praising a man by saying that if he were educated, he might have become a great scholar or a great personality is nothing but a process of cheating. A foolish person who agrees to accept such praise does not know that such words simply insult him.
So he says, this is not a praise, it is an insult. Praising a man by saying that if he were educated, she might have become scholar. Well, this is foolishness. अब कई लोग बच्चे बोल कई बार पेरेंट्स दे टेल अरे हमारा बच्चा पढ़ता नहीं पढ़ता तो बहुत इंटेलिजेंट है पढ़ता नहीं है बस दिस इज नॉट अ प्रेज he says this is nothing but a process of cheating. It is not the way actual glorification should be done. It is an insult. It is simply an insult for him. So Prabhupada writes, Ritu Maharaj was an incarnation, already testified, all the devtas given him gifts because he has just been coronated. However, he could not manifest godly qualities in action. Therefore, he was not willing to accept the praise. So-called incarnations of God should take lessons from the behavior of Prithu Maharaj. Okay. Chakravarti Thakur says, Are you are the Supreme Lord, you are worthy of praise. Prithu says, though it is possible for the best person to manifest in himself the qualities of God, what wise person would make others glorify him? Yeah, all these concepts are little difficult to understand for a Kali Yuga brain because this is the way we live in this world. Somebody glorifies us, and people many times all this social media likes and they are like paid. So this is a way to increase the followers, fame. Of course, devotees they use it for spreading Krishna consciousness. That is a different thing. But most of the time, people in this world they are using this only, engaging people to glorify them so that they can become famous. But this is not a glorification. This is an insult. If he does not have qualities and cannot manifest such qualities, only a fool would have others praise him. That fool does not know it is an insult. How? By words like if he had studied arts or scriptures, he would have been a great scholar. This is a foolishness. This is an insult. And then in the next verse, Prithu Maharaj says this is actually criticism. This is not just insult, this is criticism also. Translation, please.
As a person with a sense of honor and magnanimity does not like to hear about his abominable actions. A person who is very famous and powerful does not like to hear himself praised.
These are some difficult things to accept, but that is how the culture was. Nobody would like to hear his glorification. Okay. So Prithu Maharaj, he continued. Next verse, translation.
Ritu continued, My dear devotees, headed by the Sutta, just now I am not very famous for my personal activities because I have not done anything praiseworthy you could glorify. Therefore, how could I engage you in praising my activities exactly like children?
Okay. So although Prithu Maharaj spoke all these things, the reciters, they kept glorifying him. They didn't accept what Prithu was saying. That is what is described in the next verse in the 16th chapter. Praise of King Prithu by professional reciters. Maitreya uvacha iti bruvāṇam nipratim gāyaka munichodita tuštuvas tuštamanasa tadvākam sevaya. Translation.
The great sage Maitreya continued, while King Prithu thus spoke, the humility of his nectarian speeches pleased the reciters very much. Then again they continued to praise the king highly with exalted prayers as they had been instructed by the great sages.
So this important word is muni choditaha. So the great sages, they had instructed him, please glorify him. Although he is humbly saying, please don't glorify me, I have not done anything, but that is his, nature. That is how Lord is. That is how great people are. But it is our responsibility to keep glorifying the Supreme Lord. Prabhupada writes, Muni Chodita means instructions received from the great sages and saintly people. Although Prithu Maharaj, he had not exhibited any godly powers, the reciters understood that he is the avatar of the Lord. They could understand this by instructions given by the sages and the Brahmanas. So therefore, one should accept Sadhu, Shastra and Guru. So this is a very important combination. Guru, Sadhu, Shastra. One has to test all spiritual masters according to the instructions of saintly people, scriptures, and spiritual matters. One has to test all spiritual matter. So anything we hear, they should be confirmed by these three: Sadhu, Shastra, and Guru. Spiritual master is one to follow the instructions of his predecessors, namely the sadhus. A bona fide spiritual master does not mention anything not mentioned in authorized scriptures. Ordinary people have to follow the instructions of Sadhu, Shastra, and Guru. So this is a very important trio in the life of a devotee. Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. That is very important. Whenever there is confusion, if we hear something which is not very clear, ask sadhus, take shelter of scriptures. If some words spoken by the great sages, they are difficult to understand, ask spiritual master. So that's how we have to always live our life based on three things. So all these reciters, they were aware that Prithu was the incarnation of the Lord. Although the king denied such praise, reciters did not stop praising him. Rather, they were pleased with the king because he was so humble and delightful in his dealings. He was smiling. Because the previous chapter, Sri Prabhupada writes in 15.21. So Prithu Maharaj, he smiled. It was not that he was grave, he was angry. Oh, why are you glorifying me? He was smiling. So the smile was very encouraging for them. So he was humble and delightful. So he was in the pleasant mood. Thus, we have to learn from the Lord or his incarnation how to be gentle and humble. King's behavior was very pleasing to the reciters, so therefore they continued to praise. Translation, next verse.
The reciters continue. Dear King, you are a direct incarnation of Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, and by his causeless mercy, you have descended to this earth. Therefore, it is not possible for us to actually glorify your exalted activities. Although you have appeared through the body of King Vena, even great orators and speakers like Lord Brahma and other demigods cannot exactly describe the glorious activities of your lordship.
So although you are appearing from a sinful body, but that does not make you any less. Lord is always pure from wherever he appears. Just like Varahadev appeared from the nostrils of Brahma, not a very clean place. From wherever the Lord appears, in whatever form he appears, he is always transcendental. Although he is appearing in this material world and engaging in all the creation and management of this material world, he is not affected by this. Etad ishanam ishasya prakriti tadgunai na yujyate. He is never affected by the remotes. So therefore they are saying you are direct incarnation. You have descended on this earth by your mercy. So Mayaya, the word used here is avatatara Mayaya. By your mercy you have appeared in this world. So there are two kinds of Maya, Yoga Maya, Mahamaya. So Prabhupada writes about that. Mahamaya is an expansion of Yoga Maya. And though both these Mayas are different expressions of Lord's internal potencies. As Krishna says, Sambhavami Atma Mayaya. 4th chapter, 6th verse, Krishna says that. Bhagavad Gita. Ajopisan Abhyayatma Bhutanam Ishwaropisan Prakritim Swamadhisthaya Sambhavami Atma Mayaya. So it says, Prabhupada writes, how Lord can appear in any form. He appears as fish, appears as boar, but he is never contaminated. His position is never diminished. The Lord is completely free and independent to appear anywhere and everywhere. It is stated that Ananta, who has unlimited mouths, cannot reach the end of his glorification. In a very famous verse, Nantam vidamyahamami munayograjaste maya balasya purushasya kuto varaye gayan gunan dashishatananadideva sheshodhunapi samavastana asya param. Gayan gunan dashyatanan, are 1,000-hooded unlimited mouths of Ananta Shesh cannot describe the glories of the Lord.
Can you go inside the room and listen?
Another place they said that even if somebody can count the rays of sun, even if somebody can count the grains of sand, if somebody can count the snowflakes in the Arctic regions, still one cannot count the glories of the Lord. Gunat manaste api gunan vimatum hitavatirnasya kaishirasya kalena vayairvai vimita sukalpai bhupam sava khemihika dyubhasya. Bhupam sava, the grains on the sand, on the earth. Khemihika, the sun rays. Khemihika means the snowflakes. And dyubhasya, the sun rays. Nobody can count the glories of the Lord. Shiva Virinchi, even Brahma, Shiva, they cannot count the glories of the Lord. So if demigods cannot find adequate language to express the glories of the Lord, then what to speak of others? So they felt, Sut Magadas, they felt inadequate. How much can we glorify the Supreme Lord? He is avatar of the Lord. So that's how they are glorifying. Prabhupada writes. Rather, one should not feel, if these great souls and great sages and devatas cannot glorify, how can I glorify? So better not glorify. No. Although we are unable to offer prayers in adequate fashion, our duty is to make an attempt in order to purify ourselves. Which verse? Similarly, somebody is saying this. Although I'm not qualified, still I'll glorify.
Prahlad Maharaj.
प्रहलाद महाराज कहाँ पे? प्रहलाद महाराज तो
Prahlad Maharaj says that all the god, the devatas have glorified.
Okay, yes, correct. Brahmadaya Surgana, first verse only he said that, yes. Brahmadaya Surgana Munayota Siddha Satve Katanakatayo Vachasam Pravahe Naraditum Purgunai Adhunapi Pipro Kim Toshtumarhati Same Harirugrajate. I am Ugrajati, how can I glorify you? There is another place where somebody is saying, I will glorify you, my Lord, for my purification. Anyone remembers that?
Even Kunti Devi also, na? Kunti Devi is one prayer which you said.
There is one prayer by Maitreya. We have heard in third canto. Maitreya Muni says, although I am not qualified to glorify the Lord, tathapi kirtayami anga yathamati yathashrutam kirtir harer swam satkartum giram anya vidha asati. Although my words, they cannot glorify the Lord, still I glorify yathamati yathashrutam. Whatever I have heard, whatever I have understood, because if I don't speak, my words will become unchaste. Prabhupada writes in one place in Chaitanya Charitamrita, आपन शोधिते कोरी मुख्य मुख्य जन. Kaviraj Goswami says, Ananta Chaitanya Gana Kekaru Ganan, Apana Shodhite Kori Mukhya Mukhya Jan. Oh, the associates of Lord Chaitanya are unlimited. But I am taking the names of few for Apana Shodhite, for my purification. Prabhupada writes in that all activities of Krishna consciousness should be performed for personal purification, not for जनहित में जा रही, जन कल्याण के लिए चलो प्रचार करने जा रहे हैं. No, everything is for our own purification. Okay. Now the third verse, they continue. Translation, please.
Hare Krishna. Although we are unable to glorify you adequately, we non-ethless have a transcendental taste for glorifying your activities. We shall try to glorify you according to the instructions received from the authoritative sages and scholars. Whatever we speak, however, is always inadequate and very insignificant, dear King, because you are a direct incarnation of Supreme Personality of Godhead. All your activities are liberal and ever laudable. Hare Krishna.
So they say, we will still glorify you. Although we are not able to glorify you properly, you are the Supreme Lord, your qualities are unlimited. So we'll still glorify you for 4 reasons. He says, we have a transcendental taste for glorifying your activities. We like to glorify. We are eager to glorify. That is the first reason. We are eager to glorify you, my Lord. That is how the devotees are. They always want to glorify the Lord. Nobody can glorify the Lord completely, but still, we like to glorify you. Second, because we have received instructions from the sages and the scholars. They have told me to glorify you, so we are doing it. And third, they say, Are your pastimes are shlaghyani. All your activities are liberal and they are ever laudable. Shlaghyani karmani. They are laudable, they are wonderful qualities. And you are the Supreme Lord, Shaktiavesh Avatar yourself. So that is the glorious position of Ritumara, Shlaghyaniya. And there is a word, Shlaghaniya. Shlaghaniya means worth glorifying. They are laudable. There are many words, Kataniya, Namaniya, Shravaniya, Pathaniya, Bhajaniya, Kirtaniya, Smiraniya, Sprihaniya. Everything about the Lord is worth. So your pastimes are Shlaghaniya, Shlaghyani. They are praiseworthy. All the other people, their pastimes are not praiseworthy. So Prabhupada writes, however expert one may be, one can never describe the glories of the Lord adequately. Still, one should try as much as possible. Such attempt will please the Lord. Lord Chaitanya has advised all his followers to go everywhere and preach. Yar dekho tara kaho Krishna Upadesh. Since the message is essentially Bhagavad Gita, the preacher's duty is to study Bhagavad Gita as it is understood by disciplic succession. and speak according to Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. This simple process is the easiest method by which one can glorify the Lord. This is the easiest method. Devotional service, however, is a real method, for by devotional service, one can satisfy the Lord with just few words. This is very, very powerful. Prabhupada is writing. With just few words, one can glorify the Lord. One can satisfy the Lord just by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, which is having only 3 words. Without a devotional service, volumes of books cannot satisfy the Lord. Idam hi pumsa tapasa shrutasya va shrishtasya suktasya cha buddhidattayo avichyuto artha kavibhirnirupito yaduttama shloka gunanuvarnanam. All the results of the sukta and all the learned people, whatever they are saying, the ultimate result is uttama shloka gunanuvarnanam. All the faculty should be used in service of Lord, glorifying the Lord. Even though the preachers of the Krishna consciousness movement may be unable to describe the glories, they can nonetheless go everywhere and request people to chant Hare Krishna. So these bards, they continue to glorify. Next is a nice verse. We'll recite this. Now they are glorifying Prithu Maharaj. एष धर्मभृतां श्रेष्ठो
एष धर्मभृतां श्रेष्ठो
लोकं धर्मे अनुवर्तयन्
लोकं धर्मेऽनुवर्तयन्
गोप्ता च धर्मसेतूनां
गोप्ता च
शास्ता तत्परिपन्थिनां
This king, the Maharaja Prithu, is best amongst those who are following the religious principles. As such, he will engage everyone in the pursuit of the religious principles and give those principles all protection. He will also be a great chastiser to the irreligious and atheistic.
Esha, this king Prithu is Dharma Bhritam Sreshtha. Dharma Bhritam means those who are followers of religious principles. Sreshtha, he is the best in that. Lokam Dharme Anuvartayan. As such, he will engage everyone in pursuit of religious principles. Lokam Dharme Anuvartayan. Goptacha Dharma Setunam. And he will give protection to all the religious principles. Shasta Tatpari Panthinam. He will be a great chastiser to irreligious and atheistic. So these are the qualities of a head of the state. Prabhupada writes how one should protect, the king should protect the religious principles. He should protect the followers. He should do all the arrangements so that the religious principles can be followed, and he should chastise all the sinful and irreligious people. But Prabhupada writes, this is the state, this is the test of good government. So the king is expert in protecting religious principles and expert in chastising the irreligious elements, sinful elements. And then Prabhupada writes about the Kali Yuga government, and then he writes from Bhagavatam what will happen. The kings will become rogues and they will exploit people. People will run and go to the forest. All these things Prabhupada writes. Esha vai lokapalanam Vibhartyekastanautanum Kale kale yatha bhagam Lokayorubhayorhitam.
लोकयोरुपयोर्हितम्
This king alone in his own body will be able in due course of time to maintain all living entities and keep them in a pleasant condition. by manifesting himself as different demigods for various departmental activities. Thus, he will maintain the upper planetary system by inducing the populace to perform Vedic sacrifices. In due course of time, he will alone maintain these earthly planets by discharging proper rainfall.
So this king, Keshavai Lokapalanam, this king will protect. This king will himself perform the role of all the departmental demigods. Lokpalanam. That's how powerful Prithu Maharaj will become. He will himself perform all the departmental activities. Vibharti ekas tanav tanuhu. And this king alone, in his own body, will be able to maintain all the living entities. He will maintain all the living entities and keep them in pleasant condition. He'll himself do it. Ekas tanautanu. This king alone in his own body. It is not that he will take a different body. No, in his own body, he will maintain all the living entities and he'll keep them in pleasant situation. Kale kale yatha bhagam. And he will maintain the upper planetary systems also by inducing the populace to perform Vedic rituals. And in due course of time, he'll maintain an earthly planet also. So he'll do everything. So Prabhupada writes, the demigods in charge of various departmental activities that maintain this world are assistants of the Supreme Lord. But when there is no proper person to become the Devatas, the Supreme Lord himself becomes those Devatas. He becomes Indra. He becomes Chandra, Surya. Consequently, the incarnation of the Lord is capable to act for the departmental demigods. So the Lord himself takes the role of all these devatas if there is no capable person to do it. So that entire human beings, society can be maintained. So Prabhupada writes how by proper execution of the religious principles, the yagyas are done. And because of the yajna, everything flourishes. And then Prabhupada, of course, writes in Kali Yuga, all these yajna, they don't work. There's only one yajna which works, that is Sankirtan yajna. Vasukala upadatte
Vasukala upadatte
kale chayam vimunchati
kale chayam vimunchati
kama sarveshu bhuteshu
samasarveshu bhuteshu
pratapan suryavat vibhu.
This king Prithu will be as powerful as the sun god, and just as the sun god equally distributes his sunshine to everyone, King Prithu will distribute his mercy equally. Similarly, just as the sun god evaporates water for 8 months and during the rainy season, he returns it profusely. This king will also exact taxes from the citizens and return these monies in times of need.
So that's how this Prithu Maharaj will be. Vasukala upadatte. In due course of time, Vasukala upadatte kale chayam vimunchati. He will exact taxes and he'll give them back. Just like Surya. Just like the sun evaporates water. Pratapan Suryavat. Just like Suryavat. Surya takes the water and then gives it back as rains. So this King Prithu will exact the taxes and then he'll give back in the times of need. So Prabhupada writes about the taxations. They are not just meant for the sense gratification of the government heads. Tax revenue should be distributed to citizens in the time of needs like famine or flood. Tax revenues should never be distributed amongst governmental servants in the form of high salaries and various other allowances. In Kali Yuga, however, the position of citizens is very horrible. because taxes are exacted in so many forms and are spent on the personal comforts of the administrators. So this person, this Prithu Maharaj, he will be very, very tolerant. If he'll find somebody doing, some foolish person doing wrong, he will just tolerate also sometimes. Titakshiti akramam vainya upare akramatamapi bhutanam karuna shashvat artanam shitivartiman. Translation.
This king Prithu will be very, very kind to all citizens, even though a poor person may trample the king's state by violating the rules and regulations. The king, out of his goodness, will be forgetful and forgiving. As a protector of the world, he will be as tolerant as the earth.
So people, everybody, they pass stool and urine, and Mother Earth tolerates everything. It is not a very good thing, obnoxious. Similarly, this Prithu Maharaj, he'll be very kind to citizens, very, very kind. Titikshati, he will tolerate the offenses. Even if a poor person, out of his foolishness, he may insult Prithu Maharaj. He may violate some rules and regulations. But Prithu, understanding the situation, he will tolerate it also. Prabhupada writes, Prithu Maharaj is compared with earthly planet in terms of tolerance. Earth always is trampled by men and animals, still gives food to them. Similarly, Prithu Maharaj, even though some citizens might violate the rules and regulations, he would still be tolerant and maintain them. So he will make sure that the rules are followed. But if somebody is not following the rules and regulations, he will not just stop their food. He will provide them all the fruits and the grains. At the same time, he'll make sure that they get reformed. Just like father. Father may punish the child for doing wrong, but father never says you will not get to eat today. Prabhupada writes. In other words, it is duty of the king to look after the comforts of citizens, even at the cost of his own personal convenience. This is not the case in Kali Yuga. It is described previously, kings were so very sensitive and compassionate. One time, there was a king in South India, and he went to the forest, and as he was roaming around, he saw a creeper, and was not able to climb because it had no support. So this king felt so compassionate on that creeper. He put his chariot as support and he walked back to the kingdom. That was the epitome, that was the extent the kings were responsible to every living entity. We hear the stories of Ranti Dev and Shivi Maharaj, how they were sensitive and so very tolerant. Not like Kali Yuga government. They continue. Deve Varshatasau Devo Naradeva Vapurhari Krichra Prana Praja Yesha Rakshayishyat Anjasendravat. Translation.
When there is no rainfall and the citizens are in great danger due to the scarcity of water, this royal personality of God will be able to supply rains exactly like the heavenly King Indra. He will very easily be able to protect the citizens from drought.
So basically, they are saying he will do everything because he is the Supreme Lord. He can do anything and everything. If there is avarshati, Varsha is not there. Oh, this king will become Indra. He will shower rains. So that's how he will protect all the citizens. Prabhupada writes, King Prithu is compared to sun and the demigod Indra. Indra is in charge of distributing waters. So therefore it is indicated that Prithu would arrange for distribution of rainfall personally. if Indra failed to discharge his duty. So Prithu was able to do anything for maintaining the citizens. King Prithu would manage to counteract the deficiency by virtue of his godly powers. He did not depend on the mercy of heavenly king. He is a supreme lord. Prabhupada writes about Vrindavan, Krishna lifting that Govardhan hill. आप्यायत्य सौलोकं वदनामृतमूर्तिना सानुरागावलोकेन विशद स्मितचारुणा.
This king, Prithu Maharaja, by virtue of his affectionate glances and beautiful moon-like faces, which is always smiling with great affection for these citizens, will enhance everyone's peaceful life.
So king, just by looking at him, just by taking darshan of Prithu Maharaj, people will be enlightened. Because he would cast such merciful glance on everyone. Anuraga lokena. Anuraga avalokan. That's the quality of the Lord's glance. When the Lord glances, that glance can create peace. Chandrika vishadasmerai saruna panga vikshatai swakarthanam ivarajaha sattvabhyam srishtipalakai. Lord's glance creates desire for service. Lord's smile destroys all the suffering. Whenever Lord glances on somebody, it is described Hasam Hare Ravanata Kilalokatibra Shokashrusagar Vishoshanamatyudaram Sammohanaya Rachitam Nijamaya Yasya Bhumandalam Munikrite Makaradvajasya. Lord has this beautiful smile which destroys the oceans of tears. And Lord has his beautiful eyebrows which can destroy the effects of Cupid. And Snigdha Smita Avalokena Vacha Piyusha Kalpitaha. Snigdha Smita Avalokena. The Lord's glances, they are so very affectionate. They create peace. So that's how the Lord's glance is described in many places in Bhagavatam. They continue. Translation, next verse.
Hare Krishna. The reciters continue. No one will be able to understand the policies of the king will follow. His activities will also be very confidential, and it will not be possible for anyone to know how he will make every activity successful. His tragedy will always remain unknown to everyone. He will be the reservoir of unlimited glories and good qualities, and his position will be maintained and covered just as Varuna, the deity of the seas, is covered all around by water. Hare Krishna.
So Prithu Maharaj, he will make so many policies and he will make strategies. Nobody will understand how Prithu Maharaj is working. So that's how great kings are. That's how successful kings are. If their strategy and their ways of working are known by their enemies, then it will be difficult for them to rule over and to win over other countries. So Prithu will make policies which nobody will be able to understand. And his activities are also very confidential. Whatever the Lord does, nobody can understand. This we have heard. Anyone remembers anything related to this confidential? Where it has come earlier? Lord is really difficult to understand. Anyone remembers anywhere? In the story of Bhishma Dev, when all the Pandavas they go to meet Bhishma Dev. So Bhishma Dev tells, "Oh, it is so very painful. Aho kashtam, aho anyayam. All of you suffered so much, but it is all time factor." And you know who is this time factor? This this personality who's standing in front of you, Yanmanyase Matuleyam Surin Mitram Priyattamam Sachivam Makaro Dutam Sauridat as a Sarthi. He is none of this. Eshavai Bhagavan Sakshat Adyo Narayana Puman Mohayan Mayaya Lokam Gudhascharati Vrishnishu. Gudhascharati. This personality, he is secretly moving in Vrishnikul. Nobody can understand how he is working, why he is working in certain ways. Nobody can understand. Yudhishthira says, Arey, he is standing right there, we'll ask him. He says, no, even if you ask, he will not tell you. And even if he tells you, you will not understand. So nobody can understand how the Lord is working in this world. So Prabhupada writes, Varuna is the predominating deity of seas and the oceans. From outward appearances, the seas and oceans are devoid of life. But a person acquainted with sea knows that within the water exists many varieties. So the king of that water kingdom is Varuna. Just as no one understands what is going beneath the sea, no one could understand the policy King Prithu was following to make everything successful. Upagupta Vittaha. King Prithu's path of diplomacy was very grave. His success was made possible because he was a reservoir of unlimited qualities. Another word used here is Upagupta Vitta. Nobody will know where is he keeping his treasury. His treasury will remain unknown. That's a good king. Nobody should know where is his treasury. He says, Prabhupada writes, no one would know the extent of riches King Prithu would confidentially keep. The idea is that not only the king, but everyone should keep his money confidentially and secretly. This is very important. So that in due course of time, the money can be spent for good practical purposes. In Indian homes, all Matajis are very expert in that. All the ladies are expert in that. They keep the money confidentially. I remember when this demonetization happened, my mummy was telling, mother was telling her, hey, I kept so much, I had to give everything to father. Sab dena pada main ko nikal ke. So all that money which is kept for future emergency purposes, so that it can be spent for good practical purposes. So money should be kept confidentially and secretly. Prabhupada writes, in Kali Yuga, however, the king and government has no well-protected treasury, and the only means is currency. Only means of circulation is currency notes made of paper. So this is not a good way of, maintaining the secrecy. So Prithu Maharaj, he knew how to keep his money and all the treasury in a secret way. Keeping one's money very secretly is an age-old practice. And we find this practice present even during the reign of Prithu Maharaj. Just as a king has the right to keep his treasury confidential and secret, the people should also keep their individual earnings a secret. Nobody should know how much this person is earning. Where is he keeping his treasury? How he is spending? That is the way people should live. That is what it is described. There is no fault in such dealings. Because ultimately, the purpose is I'll keep money in a way so that it can be used in service of the Lord better, not for my own sense gratification, for the Lord's pleasure. So that's how Prithu Maharaj, he was so very expert. Nobody could understand. Nobody could understand the plans of the Lord, movements of the Lord. Nobody can understand the movements of great devotees. Srila Prabhupada, he was once sitting in Keshavji Gaudiya Mutt in Delhi, in Mathura. And before going to America, was like any other sadhu. So Prabhupada and one other sannyasi, they were sitting in that mutt and they were taking prasad. One person came and he saw these two people taking prasad, he left. Prabhupada told, all he saw was two old men sitting and eating prasad. He doesn't know that future of Lord Chaitanya's movement is in hands of one of them. So nobody can understand how great empowered representative of the Lord is. It is not an ordinary thing. Srila Prabhupada, he took the idea of GBC from his spiritual master. He knew how to run this Krishna consciousness movement. I was very expert in that. Srila Prabhupada, he knew how to deal with the world. He was very expert. As we have heard that when he went to America, he was learning so many things, understanding the scenario of American civilization, so that he can, preach this message of Bhagavad Gita accordingly. So that's how it was very, very important. It is very, very important to understand how we should never judge a great personality. We should never try to understand a great personality. Okay. They continue. Translation.
King Prithu was born of the dead body of King Vena, as fire is produced from rainy wood. Thus King Prithu will always remain just like fire, and his enemies will not be able to approach him. Indeed, he will be unbearable to his enemies, for although staying very near him, they will never be able to approach him, but will have to remain as if far away. No one will be able to overcome the strength of King Prithu.
So these are some more qualities of Prithu Maharaj. Prabhupada writes, just as fire is not easily approached, King Prithu would remain unapproachable by the enemies, even though they would appear to be very near him. So in the recent times also, we have seen great Kshatriya kings, just like Shivaji Maharaj. He was called by this Afzal Khan, and Afzal Khan wanted to kill him. So Shivaji Maharaj, he took tiger claws and he killed Afzal Khan. Nobody knows how this personality works. He was arrested by Aurangzeb and he was put in the prison. He told, I will not eat grains. I will eat only fruits. So they brought a basket of oranges. Huge. And this Shivaji Maharaj entered one of that big basket and he escaped. He had planned some things. So that's how it is. This, just like kings of this recent times, they were so very expert. Supreme Lord is the origin of all that. Shivaji Maharaj, he had, few soldiers, and once they were attacked by these Mughals. And the Mughals were coming in thousands. So what they did, at night, he brought thousands of bulls. And he put torches on every bull. And they marched towards the enemies. So the Mughals thought, oh my God, thousands of soldiers are coming. They all ran away. So that's how these Mughals were defeated. So the kings of the past, they were also so very expert. Supreme Lord is the origin of everything. Nobody could cheat him. Okay, next verse, translation.
King Prithu will be able to see all the internal and external activities of every one of his citizens. Still, no one will be able to know his system of espionage. And he himself will remain neutral regarding all matters of glorification or vilification paid to him. He will be exactly like air, the life force within the body, which is exhibited internally and externally, but is always neutral to all effects.
So his espionage, he'll send spies. Nobody would be able to understand that these are not my people, they are the spy of Prithu Maharaj. So that's how expert he was in maintaining, managing the affairs. Expert in fighting, expert in managing. He was like air. So air is neutral to everything, but the air knows everything. Air can go everywhere and anywhere. So just like air, Prithu Maharaj could see the actions of each and every citizen. So that's how he was like air. And of course, he was not affected by all these actions. He would just do the needful. He knew how to get the truth from anyone, from anywhere. That's how expert this Prithu Maharaj will be. This Prithu will be a Dharmaraj. Na dandyam dandayatyesha sutam atma dushamapi dandayatyatmajamapi dandyam dharmapathe sthitah. Translation.
Since his king will always remain on the path of piety, he will be neutral to both his son and the son of his enemy. If the son of his enemy is not punishable, he will not punish him. But if his own son is punishable, he will immediately punish him.
So this is the natural tendency of anyone. If there is some enemy, then I'll treat all the people related to my enemy also as enemy. But the Lord doesn't do like this. And we see the story of Prahlad. Hiranyakashipu was the greatest of the demon. And Indra, he thought, oh, his son is also like a demon only. He'll be a demon also. But Narad Muni understood that he is not ordinary personality. He is not a demon. He is a Mahabhagavatottama. So that's how this king will be neutral, and he will punish only if somebody is punishable. Otherwise, he will not punish anyone whimsically. These are the characteristics of an impartial ruler. It is the duty of a ruler to punish the criminal and protect the innocent. So the Prithu Maharaj was neutral. If his own son were punishable, he would not hesitate to punish him. That is how the great kings are. It is described that one time there was a king, and in his assembly, a cow came, and the cow was crying. And the king asked, why this cow is crying? Nobody was ready to tell. Then the king very strongly said, you have to tell me if you know the reason. He said, O king, some time back, your son, the prince, he was just moving around in the kingdom, and on his chariot, he didn't see, he ran over the calf of this cow, and the calf is dead. So king, he had to give justice to the cow. She had come for justice. So he punished his son for that. So that is the ideal king. Every one in the kingdom is like Praja. So one should not, try to tag everyone as one person. Oh, all these people are like this only. All these devotees are bad only. At the same time, if somebody is punishable, they should be punished, whoever they may be. Next verse, translation.
Just as the sun god expands his shining rays up to the Arctic region without impedance, the influence of King Prithu will cover all tracts of land up to the Arctic region and will remain undisturbed as long as he lives.
Okay, next.
The king will please everyone by his practical activities. and all his citizens will remain very satisfied. Because of this, the citizens will take great satisfaction in accepting him as their ruling king. Hare Krishna.
So just like in the previous verse, Prabhupada writes something. The conclusion is that the sun and sun god cannot be separated. Similarly, King Prithu and his strength cannot be separated. He would be very, very powerful king. And nobody could, stop him. His rule over everyone would continue without disturbance. So this king will be able to satisfy all the citizens. Ranjayati, Manoranjanakai Praja. This king will satisfy every citizen. That is the very rare quality of a king. A king who can satisfy every citizen, that is difficult, practically impossible in this age. But he will do that. Prithu Maharaj will do that. Dridhavrata Satyasando Brahmanyo Vritta Sevakaha Sharanya Sarva Bhutana Manadodi Navatsalaha. Another very beautiful verse about Prithu Maharaj. Yes, translation.
The king will be firmly determined and always situated in truth. He will be a lover of the Brahmanical culture and will render all services to old men and give shelter to all surrendered souls. Giving respect to all, he will always be merciful to the poor and innocent. Hare Krishna.
Dridhavrata, he'll be firmly determined. Satyasandha, situated in truth. Brahmanya, a lover of Brahmanical culture. Vriddha Sevakaha, servitor of old men. Sharanya, the Lord is only worth taking shelter of. Sharanya, nobody else is worth taking shelter of in this world. Deenavatsalaha, Sharanya, Sarvabhutana. He can give shelter to everyone. A person, an ordinary householder can give shelter to only few of the people, few of the family members. That too not completely. That too not in all situations. But Lord can do that. He is Sharanya. Sarvatmanaya Sharanam Sharanyam. He is worth taking shelter of. He would give respect to everyone. Manada, and he is merciful to the innocent. Matribhakti parastrishu patnyam ardh ivatmanah prajashu pitrivat snigdha kinkaro brahmanadinam. Translation.
The king will respect all women as if they were his own mother, and he will treat his own wife as the other half of his body. He will be just like an affectionate father to his citizens, and he will treat himself as the most obedient servant of the devotees, who always preach the glories of the Lord.
Yes. Prabhupada quotes this verse by Chanakya Pandit. Matravat pardareshu pardravyeshu loshtravat. This is the definition of an educated person. Yah pashyati sa panditaha. Although he was a king, he treated himself as servant of his devotees. And he was Brahmavadi. Brahmavadi means he would serve the devotees, would preach the glories of the Lord. So that's how Prithu Maharaj was an ideal king. Next verse. Dehinam atmavat preshta suridam nandivardana mukta sangha prasangoyam dandapanir asadushu.
The king will consider all embodied living entities as dear as his own self, and he will always be increasing the pleasures of his friends. He will intimately associate with liberated persons, and he will be a chastising hand to all impious persons.
So that's how Prithu Maharaj, he would be mukta sangha prasangoyam. This is very important quality. He will intimately associate with liberated persons. He will associate with 4 Kumaras that will come in the future chapters. Mukta Sangha Asangoyam. That is the quality of the king, Prithu Maharaj. And that is a quality of any ideal king, any Raj Rishi. He associates with liberated people, he associates with devotees of the Lord. And he will chastise all the demoniac impious people. Ayam tu sakshat bhagavan sadisha kutastha atma kalayavatirna yasminna vidyarchitam nirarthakam pashyanti nanatmapi pratitam. Translation.
This king is the master of three worlds, and he is directly empowered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is without change, and he is an incarnation of Supreme, known as a Satyavesha Avatara. Being a liberated soul and completely learned, he sees all material varieties as meaningless because their basic principle is nascence.
Pradhishaha, he is the master of the three worlds. He is the Kalayavatirnaha. He is the avatar of the plenary expansion. He is a partial plenary expansion of the Supreme Lord. And avidya, yasmin avidya rachitam nirarthakam. So he sees all the material varieties as meaningless. Avidya rachitam. Whatever avidya means, that which is created by the material energy, Mahamaya. That is avidya. It is not permanent. Whatever is created by material energy in this world, it is meaningless because they don't take one to supreme understanding. It is nirarthak. Because the basic principle is nishayans. It's all rooted in ignorance. So this personality, Prithu Maharaj, he will be a great learned soul, liberated soul, and he will see all the varieties as meaningless. Prabhupada writes, these qualities are summarized in the word Sakshat Bhagavan. So he is Sakshat Bhagavan. He is directly Supreme Personality of Godhead and therefore possesses unlimited good qualities. Because he is an expansion of the Lord, incarnation of the Lord, nobody could excel him in his opulent, excellent qualities. He had everything. Kutastha, he is without change. There are two types of living entities, Nitya Baddha, Nitya Mukta. A Nitya Mukta never forgets his position. So he is a Nitya Mukta living entity. He is a Shakti-Aves avatar. Nitya Mukta living entity knows that he is expansion of Supreme Nitya. Being in such a position, he sees the material world with a different vision. But a Nitya Baddha, he is bound in this material world. So he is Prithu Maharaji's Shakti-Avesh avatar, and he did not change his spiritual position because he is actually a self-realized soul. Next verse. Translation, please.
This king, being uniquely powerful and heroic, will have no competitor. He will travel around the globe on his victorious chariot, holding his invincible bow in his hand and appearing exactly like the sun, which rotates in its own orbit from the south.
So that's how he'll be moving around the world, defeating any opponents, always victorious, no competitor. That's how all the great Rajarishis were. We have heard such description about Parikshit, about Yudhishthir, all the great kings. They were accepted by everyone else. Jambu Dvipadhipatyam cha yashascha tri divangataha. Yudhishthir Maharaj, he is described not only just to be ruling this Bharat Khanda, entire Jambu Dvipa. Everyone accepted supremacy of Yudhishthir Maharaj. That's how great he was. In the fifth canto, when we will hear about what is Jambudvipa and what is Bharatvarsha, what is Bharat Khanda, then we'll realize, oh my God, how great Yudhishthir Maharaj was. Yes, Praji.
Prabhuji, the Pandavas, they were actually Nityasiddha devotees. And here, the Prithu Maharaj is in the category of Shaktavesh avatar. So, what exactly the difference between them, because they are also living entities and he's also fall in the category of living entity. So it's like empowered incarnations, how it differentiated from Nitya Siddha devotees like this.
Oh, I've not heard much, but the Lord, it is up to the Lord to empower any living entity to perform a particular seva.
Mm.
The Pandavas had a different role of showing to the world how a devotee can go through any situation but never blames the Lord, always ready to bend himself according to the will of the Lord. That was the role of Pandavas. Snigdha, they were ready to be malleable. That was Sarathya Parasada Sevana Sakhya Dautya Veera Sananugama Stavana Pramana Snigdheshu. They were Snigdha. So every devotee comes with a particular seva, particular job profile is given to every devotee that you have to show this to the world. So Pandavas had a different role. Here, Shaktya Avatar, Prithu Maharaj, he has a different role, although he is also a living entity, but he is the empowered representative of the Lord to show a particular type of power, Palana Shakti.
And Arti Devi also was Lakshmi Devi's, that manifestation. Huh?
Yes, expansion. She is not actual Lakshmi Devi's avatar. She is just
Living
like
like
Ritu Maharaj is the empowered representative. She is also empowered. She is also living entity. So Prabhupada writes, Yatharkaha indicates that sun is not fixed, but is rotating in the orbit. So Prabhupada focus on that. Just like the sun travels, this King Prithu would travel. So Bhagavatam always says that sun is not stationary. Sun is revolving around Smeru mountain. Okay. Prabhupada writes, another significant word in this verse is Naradeva. The king should be understood to be God in human form, Naradeva. He should be given respect. And Prabhupada gives the example of Sanatan Goswami giving respect even to a Muslim king, Nawab Hussain Shah. We have heard this story when Sanatan Goswami wanted to retire. He stopped going to the palace and he started reading Bhagavatam with some other Brahmanas, Nawab, and he told that I am sick. Nawab Hussain Shah came with his minister, and as he entered the assembly, Sanatan Goswami and all the Brahmanas they got up. There Prabhupada writes this. But although he is a Muslim, but because he is a king, he is given respect here. Okay, next verse. Translation, please.
When the king travels all over the world, other kings as well as the demigods will offer him all kinds of presentations. Their queens will also consider him the original king, who carries in his hands the emblem of club and disc, and will sing of his fame, for he will be as reputable as Supreme Personality of Godhead.
So Adiraj, he will be the Adiraj. Adi Daitya is Hiranyaksha. Adiraj here is Prithu Maharaj. And then they will make some future declarations which will create inquisitiveness about the activities of Prithu Maharaj in the mind of Vidurji. Yes, translation please.
The king, this protector of the citizens, is an extraordinary king and is equal to the Prajapati demigods. For the living facility of all citizens, he will milk the earth, which is like a cow. Not only that, but he will level the surface of the earth with the pointed ends of his bow, breaking all the hills exactly as King Indra, the heavenly king, breaks mountains with his powerful thunderbolt. Hare Krishna.
So in 21st verse, we can see as Prithu Maharaj is traveling, all the kings and the devtas will offer various kinds of presentations. And their queens will also consider him the original king. So these queens, they are now glorifying Prithu Maharaj. So this 22nd and 22nd to 25th, these 4 verses, they are spoken by the queens of these kings. They are saying, oh, this king is an extraordinary king. He's equal to Prajapati. He will milk the earth, which is like a cow. He will level the earth with his bow, and he will be like Indra. Next verse translation.
When the lion travels in the forest with its tail turned upward, all meaning animals hide themselves. Similarly, when King Prithu will travel over his kingdom and vibrate the string of his bow, which is made up of the horns of goats and bull, and is irresistible in battle, all demonic rogues and thieves will hide themselves in all directions.
So Kshatriya kings, they are compared to lion. Shubhan writes, in India, Kshatriya kings are still called Singh. Singh title होता है ना, वो यहाँ से आता है. Unless the rogues, thieves are afraid of the king, there cannot be peace in the state. So the kings were very, very powerful. Next verse translation.
At the
At the
source of the
source,
river, Saraswati, this king will perform 100 sacrifices known as Aswamedha. In the course of last sacrifice, the heavenly king Indra will steal the sacrifice horse.
Next.
this king Prithu will meet Sanat Kumara, one of the 4 Kumaras, in the garden of his palace compound. The king will worship him with devotion and will be fortunate to receive instructions by which one can enjoy transcendental bliss.
So whenever a person is instructed by a spiritual master and understands transcendental bliss, he enjoys life. So Prithu Maharaj will be instructed by Sanat Kumar, and he will enjoy transcendental bliss because he will follow those instructions also. Because he will become self-realized. Brahma Bhut Prasannatma Na Shochati Na Kanchati. Prabhupada writes, although he is an incarnation of the Lord, there is nothing nothing is there to be known for him, but still, just to teach all the citizens, he is taking instructions from Sanat Kumar. Okay, the last verse. Translation. Last 2-3 verses are there. Yeah, last 2 verses. Translation, please.
In this way, when chivalrous activities of King Prithu come to be known to the people in general, King Prithu will always hear about himself and his uniquely powerful activities.
Again, Prabhupada writes, to artificially advertise oneself and enjoy a so-called reputation is kind of conceit. Prithu Maharaj was famous amongst the people because of his chivalrous activities. He did not have to advertise himself artificially. One's factual reputation cannot be covered. This is completely different from what we see in this current times. To artificially advertise oneself. That is what is going on rampantly in this world. There are entire big companies working on this. It's like one time, Srivas Thakur and Mahaprabhu, they were talking, and Srivas Thakur, he started, he put his hand up and he was trying to cover the sun. So Mahaprabhu said, what are you doing? He said, I'm trying to hide the sun with my hand. He said, how can you do this? Srivas Thakur said, similarly, O my Lord, you cannot hide your glories. So that's how, if one is actually powerful and having wonderful qualities, his glories will be known to the world for sure. That is, that will happen. That is by default. But of course, in current times, in the name of, oh, I want to be famous, people use all that. And the devotees also have to use this, because if everybody else is doing this and the world is now governed by money and artificial reputation, if we don't try to spread this Krishna consciousness movement and knowledge, how will this movement spread? So our principle is Yukta Vairagya. We are not for it or against it. Use whatever is needed to serve Krishna better. And always be careful of not keeping ourselves in front. But Krishna Bhakti and Krishna Kirtan should be in front. The Acharya should be glorified. That is very, very important to understand. Okay, the last verse.
No one will be able to disobey the orders of Prithu Maharaj. After conquering the world, he will completely eradicate the threefold miseries of the citizen. Then he will be recognized all over the world. At that time, both the Suras and Asuras will undoubtedly glorify his magnanimous activities.
Yes. So that's how everyone will glorify Prithu Maharaj. Utpatit loka vyaya. The word used here is Utpatit loka shalya. Prabhupada emphasizes on that. Utpatit loka shalya indicates that Maharaj Prithu completely uprooted all the miseries of his citizens. There was no threefold misery in the kingdom of Prithu Maharaj. That's how powerful he was. That's how powerful Yudhishthir Maharaj was. Prabhupada writes about him also. Everybody was happy, everybody was blissful. The earth was giving abundant grains, the cows were giving milk without being milked. All the oceans, they were supplying all the minerals and the gems. That's the reign of an ideal devoted king, where there is no anxiety. Prabhupada writes that this is a standard of good government. Such a peaceful and prosperous government devoid of anxiety was established by Prithu Maharaj. Thus, the inhabitants of both saintly and demoniac planets were all engaged in glorifying the activities of Prithu Maharaj. So everybody was glorifying his activities, not just demigods, even the demoniac people. If one is able to eradicate completely the threefold miseries of citizens, he should aspire to rule the world. One should not aspire to rule for any political or diplomatic considerations. So that is how this Prithu Maharaj would rule. So now we'll see, because Maitreya Muni spoke so many things, how Prithu Maharaj will rule the earth, he will level the earth, he will milk the earth, and King Indra will steal. So all these things create various questions in the mind of Vidurji. He asks 3-4 questions, and that will form the remaining conversation. Okay, so we'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Shri Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna, thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna and Prabhu ki jai.
Hare Krishna.